Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another little episode of my thoughts with Izzy. I had made this script a while ago, and I just gotten around to making a video for it. So this is going to be like a compilation of all of the all of my thoughts that I had kind of after My Little Pony was over, plus some more cartoon shows. If you hadn't already liked, commented, shared, and do that. And let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back to another Thoughts with Izzy. Sorry if it's been a hot minute. Let's continue with a couple more MLP thoughts, shall we? Let's go. My Little Pony, Friendship Magic Thoughts. Thought number 1. We have seen a handful of artifacts from Rainbow Dash's stories with Daring Do, such as the ring, of that gold ring, and like that gold statue. But have we seen them being used outside of the world from Daring Do? As in saving the world with them from the villains? So I get that you would probably want to like keep artifacts and such like within the stories of Daring Do, but there's quite a bit of other artifacts that's were kind of only been brought up once, such as the artifacts that Cozy Glow had used in the season 8 finale. And I don't think those were like ever brought up again. And of course, those artifacts were kind of like based on like the character is based on the creature characters, I should say, like their uh society. So like an artifact from the Yaks, the artifact from the newly reformed changelings and stuff like that. Of course, we did see the artifacts used from the Griffins prior to season 8, but I think it's probably a new one if I remember correctly. So basically, what I'm getting at is I hadn't seen any other artifacts used, whether it's from the Daring Do books or like from or artifacts from like outside of that in universe book series. So I wanted to provide context for that. And moving on to thought number 2, going off of Pinkie Pie and Cheese from season 9, episode 26, The Last Problem. They're clearly shown together and had a child. The implications of the others are there, but what about Starlight or the CMC? Do they have a partner? I did see like family heirlooms so being passed down, especially with Apple Bloom, and And Gold Holy Delicious is handkerchief around her neck. She passed that down to Apple Bloom. But I hadn't seen any other partners with them. I am probably going to say I'm going to stick with the ship of Starlight and Sunburst being together. It's either those two or Starlight and Trixie. But but essentially, I hadn't seen any other partners with the main six or Starlight or this CMC. So I don't know if they have any or not, but it's just nice to think about. And thought number 3 was Celestial Luna had retired, but where did Cadence go? Based on the mural in Twilight's Castle in the very last episode of season 9, Flurry Heart had grown up and was a part of the mural. I did not see Cadence anywhere. I don't know if she passed. And this also kind of implies to Shining Armor too. I also don't know what happened to him either. I don't know if they passed or if they had moved to another town. That there wasn't like any context or note saying that. So I am going to jump from My Little Pony to Star versus the Forces of Evil. And the thoughts number 1 I have for Star versus is, given that Star can stop literal magic without her wand in the last season, had this been done before with the previous queens? I know it's been a hot minute since I've also watched the actual television show, and it's now been over. But I think that wasn't touched upon. And thought number 2, which is kind of spur of the moment. Are there like any magical spells that had that have like a disaster like consequences? Since the only spell I can think of is the spell with no name from Eclipsa. But I don't know if there are any other spells in lieu of Eclipses that the other queens had like developed and were like, this should only be used for like the most dire of emergencies. I don't know if there are any spells like that from the other queens, or if it's just Eclipsa who does that. And The last cartoon show which I'm talking about is Steven Universe. And the thoughts I have for this show, the first thought I have for this show is, why hadn't there been more fusions in the proper TV show? There are countless combos, plus there had only been 2 human fusions of Connie and Greg. Greg being from the actual movie. But I would have had liked to see a fusion with Jasper. A kind of like more of a stable fusion than Malachite. I would have liked to see a fusion with Paradox. There was the implication of a fusion with Garnet and Paradox, but that didn't work out too well. But I would have liked to see the Lapidot fusion. I would have liked to see a fusion with Bismuth. There wasn't a fusion with her ever in the proper TV show. You could have had done homeworld fusions. I would have had liked to see possibly a diamond fusion. That would be that would have been really cool to see, especially with yellow and blue. And I would have had liked to see a fusion of the crystal gems with with Paradox, with Lapis, with Jasper. I would have had liked to see fusions of those. And also stemming from the humans, there could have had been maybe a couple of more human fusions, like with Lars or like some of the other townies. Anyway, I think I've talked on long enough about fusions. Thought number 2 is, should there be more flashbacks where gems were created from kindergartens? Since the flashback of Rose / Pink Diamond wanting to oh, like the down low alter ego flashback of faking her own shattering. And then there was flashback there. I would have had liked to see more flashbacks from Yellow and Blue's point of views. Since the kindergartens on Homeworlds, basically there were a lot of gems created, but I would have had liked to have seen how Yellow and Blue would have had handled their kindergartens on other planets or something like that. And I also would have had liked to have seen White Diamond's uh, kindergartens, since there wasn't like since there was like little to no information on White Diamond until her actual her reveal later on in the show. So there wasn't much to go off of. But it would have been cool to have seen like a flashback of kindergarten either through another diamond. Uh, yeah. I think you kind of get what I mean. So thought number 3 is if given more TV show runtime, and this is a big if, should we be able to yellow blues and white diamonds quartz, as in they're the ones introducing them? Of course, at the time I think I wrote this thought, I don't think like the um like the ball episode had showed up yet. If it did, then mm. But regardless, I think as of his moment, as of me speaking, I'm pretty sure that that we have kind of seen yellows and blues quartz, even though in small pieces. But we had barely even seen any of White Diamond's court, like, at all. I don't know where they could have been in the TV show proper, but we had barely even seen White Diamond's court. If anything, we would have, if anything, the crystal gem pearl and or pink pearl was probably like the closest gem that we may have gotten to be a part of White Diamond's court. But other than that, there was like not much. So, and the reason why I'm saying as in they're the ones introducing, I'm meaning like the diamonds introduce their court to the crystal gems in or something along those lines in that front. And my last thought of Steven Universe is even though we had seen most of the other Diamond's court members, but would it be nice to know what their abilities are? Like, say, the Jades, for example, from the ball episode, there wasn't much in, there wasn't much like there was like a little to no abilities. I just remembered that going back to the fusions in my first thought, there was a homeward fusion of 2 Jades, of a Lemon Jade, but it would be cool to see like other homeworld fusions. So it isn't just Jades from what we had seen in the proper TV show. I wanted to make sure I I wanted to make sure I pointed that out before I forget. And going back down to I thought number 4, the abilities that they have would be like either showing what weapons they have or like what they can do similar to Paradox and or Jasper. So yeah. And that was my thoughts with Izzy. I had covered My Little Pony thoughts, Star versus the Forces of Evil, and Steven Universe. If you had enjoyed this episode, and yes, it had been a hot minute since I've did one of these. Yeah, anyway, like, comment, share, and sub. And don't forget the notification bell to be notified, especially if you think you're subscribed, but then you're not. And I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.